Let's move right along as they pass the mic. Our next speaker from a city just outside Transylvania, Romania, who enjoys experiencing outdoors and constantly fights allegations of being Dracula, has recently found himself with an obsession of self-improvement and adventure. Please help me welcome to the lectern, Alexander Stanciu, giving his icebreaker titled Embracing Discomfort.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Picture this. You're scaling your way to the top of the tallest mountain in the country, surrounded by nothing but fog, 8,000 feet in the air. And you're stuck in the middle of a cloud covering the mountain. A couple of feet to the left of the path, you have a cliff leading to certain death. And to the right, a wall of slippery moss. You're squinting your eyes, trying to fight the rain that's pelting you in the face, keeping your balance from the 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, all while carefully watching your footsteps as you blindly step through slippery, mud-covered rocks. These were the conditions that my father and I had to deal with as we attempted to climb to the peak of the tallest mountain in Romania. And you thought that was bad. But it all just got worse. The weather conditions finally made it too dangerous to continue with the hike. But this is where my sense of adventure and chase for discomfort started to peak. You see, my father was a large role model for me growing up, introducing me to new experiences outdoors. You could say it was a little bit of his forte. He taught me how to kayak, fish, camp, even showed me paths, hiking paths, along canyons and mountain ranges, sparking an adventurous trait that I still carry with me to this day. And I know that I'm not the only one to experience this type of childhood, as I've heard many of your guys' stories about having similar scenarios and relationships. Although many of these experiences proved to be difficult or completely outside of my comfort zone, at first, they taught me a similar lesson. Being outside your comfort zone will often reap more benefits than not. And don't get me wrong, I used to be like any other teenager, played video games, lazy, procrastinated, didn't put much thought into what path I wanted to take my life. Common traits that we're all guilty of doing, and we all know how that turns out for us. You all know that one person that says, "Oh, I'll just do it tomorrow." And although I started waking up from my failures and my bad habits as successes and failures followed through the years of schooling, I still haven't learned my lesson. It was only until a year ago that reality struck. I had failed an important exam on my first attempt out of 3, and I had to reschedule a retake within a couple months. If I continued to fail this exam, I would have been kicked out of my computer science program at university. So, this failure had resulted in a snowball effect of not only studying hard and passing the exam, but overall focusing on building my character and improving myself day by day. I took advantage of that bad situation, and I used it as motivation to build projects for my resume, hustle at career fairs and networking events to get a summer internship, and train harder in the gym. I was only able to achieve all of these successes from doing things I didn't like to do. I put myself constantly in uncomfortable positions in order to keep growing. And throughout this, I realized something. embracing discomfort went hand in hand with the sense of adventure that I had following the experiences and the moments that I shared with my father. They have both become defining traits about myself. They feed into one another, always searching for new experiences and new challenges to tackle. And that leads me to my next challenge. Making up somewhat truthful, minute-long stories every Friday, while you all question why I still show up every week. And although I get a feeling of discomfort every time I stand up in this room, I know that it will only benefit me. Now, I could have talked about my love for motorsport racing, or fighting sports, or soccer, but I wanted to focus on something more meaningful, something that'll impact my character and add to my overall view and viewpoint on life. You know, I wanted to represent myself with every challenge that I tackle. And as you know, some of us may be a little older than others. More of us. But I know that we all share this viewpoint, because otherwise, if not for embracing discomfort or searching to try new things, we wouldn't grow. Isn't that why you're all here? Isn't that why we all walk through that door every Friday? So let's embrace our discomfort together. I look forward to seeing you next Friday, Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you.
Good at fighting. He looked at me when he said old.
You know why?
I resemble that.
Okay, well.
Have you ever found yourself mindlessly scrolling on Facebook? We've heard a lot of that today. Or whatever app you boomers use. Today, our speaker, aspiring tech professional that he is, aims to help us better understand the dangers of technology and social media. Seems like a common theme today. Please help me welcome to the lectern Yuqi Zhou, giving his speech entitled A Gen Z's Guide to Quitting Doom Scrolling. Are you ready to give the speech, or are you on your app?
Give me a second. Give me a second, guys. Well, that was rude. Unfortunately, that's the reality we live in. When I walk around campus, that's all I see. College kids glued to their phones like zombies, walking around completely unaware of their surroundings. I mean, taking a walk to look at the trees, flowers, and birds is no longer a norm. Enjoying the company of your family members at the dinner table is no longer a norm. And I'm guilty of all these things too. The average American spends over 7 hours per day looking at a screen. That totals out to be almost 20 years of screen time measured across a lifetime. Ask yourself, is that truly how you want your time to be spent? Is that 7 hours a day really spent effectively on your devices? Or has the addictive AI algorithm forced you to mindlessly doom scroll? I know Roy gave a speech a few months back urging us to put our phones down. And today I want to uncover some of the larger forces at play, some deeper reasons for phone addiction, and hopefully offer an effective solution. See, these captivating little videos, they're pretty great. I love scrolling through them. but when overdone, people coin it the term doom scrolling. So what's so bad about doom scrolling? Well, these videos are usually just a few seconds long, highly entertaining and highly stimulating. Studies have shown that the stimulus we get from consuming social media triggers the brain's reward area the same way drugs like cocaine would. And to fully understand the impact of social media on our mental health, we need to understand what dopamine is and how it works. Dopamine is a chemical produced in your brain, and it is released when you do things that are beneficial to you in an evolutionary context. For example, dopamine is released after taking a bite of food, after working out, and especially after a successful social interaction. However, dopamine can also be released when we do detrimental things to our health, like taking drugs or gambling. When you watch one of these little entertaining videos, you can think of it like a dopamine hit. The same way you would get a dopamine hit from taking a puff of this cigarette right here. This packet has 20 cigarettes in it, and when you run out, you'd have to go to the store and get another pack, right? Social media, on the other hand, is completely free, and there are an unlimited amount of content endlessly at your fingertips. There's an estimated 500 hours worth of content uploaded to YouTube every single minute. As a result, an alarming amount of studies have came out indicating that excessive cell phone use directly leads to depression, anxiety, inability to focus, and decreased cognitive abilities. In a time where mental illness is on a historic rise, many professionals, including the World Health Organization, attribute this largely to the increased use of social media, especially amongst the youth. But none of this is our fault. Social media companies make money by monetizing our time to advertisers. And as a result, these big corporations are at a multi-billion-dollar arms race using the most cutting-edge research and technology to develop the most addicting algorithm to win over our time. The more you doom scroll, the more they profit. The reason why social media is free is because we're not the customers here. We're the products being sold. So how do we win back our time, attention, and mental health? The good news is our brain has neuroplasticity, meaning we can apply the same methods our brains used to learn doom scrolling to unlearn doom scrolling as well. So here's some actionable steps that I've personally researched and implemented myself that I found very useful. 1, keep your phone on Do Not Disturb. At least for me, most notifications I get are completely irrelevant. I just find it a distraction for whatever I'm doing. I mean, that's why we have you guys silence your phones every Friday, right? This really helps me regain my focus and pick up my phone less. 2, if you find yourself specifically addicted to doom scrolling, there's a setting in your phone that actually turns it black and white. Not so addicting anymore, is it? Now, I know it's really depressing staring at a black and white screen, but it really does take a large part of the addictive powers away from your phone. Lastly, embrace boredom. Nowadays, I notice that we immediately pull out our phone when we're bored. But boredom is a good thing. It allows our brain to rest. It gives us the opportunity to observe and interact with the world around us. And most importantly, it lets us reflect. Some of my deepest and most introspective thoughts were cultivated from absolute boredom. Now, if you've implemented all these steps and still have trouble with doom scrolling, this final step should be a surefire way to help you cut down your screen time. Thank you, Toastmasters.
Wow.